Hi guys, Laura here. I'm here today to review Fairest by Marissa Meyer. The reason I read this now is because next month in November, Winter is coming out, and Winter will be the conclusion to the series. And this is a prequel novel. For those of you that don't know, lunar, what is it called? The Lunar Chronicle series is 4 novels that follow 4 different fairy tale characters, and it's set in the cyborg world. So you have Cinder, which is basically Cinderella, you have Scarlet, which is basically Little Red Riding Hood, you have Cress, who's basically Rapunzel, and then you have Winter, who is going to be Snow White. And all the books kind of build on each other, and there's a big villain or a big evil character in this, and her name is Lavanya, and Lavanya is a fae, I guess, or like she's just a different type of, she's like kind of like an alien. She lives somewhere else, but she really wants to take over the world, and she wants to, make sure that she is the supreme ruler. She wants to have an alliance with Kai. So she's in all these books, and she has a lot of interconnections to like all the other characters. But this book was told from her perspective, and it was her story. And I was a little bit scared going into this book because normally when I read books from the villain's perspective, I tend to feel very undying sympathy for them, and I really understand their paths and their journeys. And I was slightly concerned that that was going to happen with this character because I really don't like her. I don't think she's redeemable in any way. But I knew that I had to read it if I was going to understand Winter properly, so I did. And I really, really loved it. It was a fast-paced read. I finished it in maybe 2, maybe 3 days. It was super, super quick. I love Marissa Meyer's writing style. It was such a compelling story. I was so glad to get the story, but I don't feel undying sympathy for this character. I just kind of feel like she did not have the best experience, but she made a lot of bad choices. And I don't think her choices needed to happen, but they kind of did. And you learn a lot about Lavanya. There's a lot of hints in the series that you're like, oh, well, maybe she's not as evil, or maybe she's, a lot of beauty is a very, very big thing. You learn a lot about what really creates her beauty, and I think that that's a very interesting thing for this character, especially when you're surrounded by all these other characters that are beautiful, and she really doesn't feel that way. So I think that that's a cause for maybe why this is going on with her. But I liked it because it really told her story from start to end, and you were able to like see a lot of like Easter eggs about stuff to come in the future. You were able to also finally get the story about Cinder, to finally get that story, like what happened and what became of that character, and why these things happened. And then you'll finally be able to get the past about Winter and what that will subsequently you'll see in the next book, in the last book in the series. But I really liked her journey. I don't have undying sympathy for her, but I think it was a very, very creative. I think that's all to Marissa Meyer. She writes very, very compelling, very, very compelling stories, and I was happy to read that I was not, I still am not a fan of this character, and I really still want her to, get her just good dirts in the end, and I was a little bit worried reading this that I would not feel that way, but I did. And I liked seeing how every little thing really caused Lavanya. And I like just seeing all the little Easter eggs. And now, like, after this, I really want to reread the whole series. So what I might do is I might read Winter, and then I might reread, maybe I'll re-listen to the books again, because I haven't read Cinder and Scarlet in a while. But I did read Crest recently. But I really wanted to be prepared for this book, so that's why I started reading it so early. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on Cress. Ultimately, I really, really enjoyed it, and it was a really good read. If you have not read this book and you're gonna read Cress in November, I highly recommend you read it because I think you really need this knowledge to complete the series. Also, I think it gives a lot of necessary background information, and I think that this character, because she is so ambiguous, you don't really get anything from her perspective in the other books. I don't know about Winter, so I don't know if you're gonna get more from her, but she's kind of like an ambiguous character, so it's really cool to be in her head and see what she's thinking and see why she made all these decisions. I don't necessarily agree with all her decisions, but I kind of understand in her head why she did them or why she thought. But you really learn a lot about her, and I think that going into the last book in the series, you really need to know this information. It's also super, super good. This book is so, so thin. I finished it in maybe like 2 days. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Fairest. I'm so, so excited for Winter. I know I'm going to probably have to wait a month to read it. But I want a good ending. I want a solid ending. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts about winter. What do you hope happens? I want a big knockout, drag out fight, and I want Lavanya gone. But I don't know if we're gonna get that. But you'll have to let me know what you think when you guys ultimately read it. As always, comment below, go to my good links, go to my Twitter. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!